Hello students, welcome to our table saw safety video. The saw guard must be used at all times. The blade should be no more than 1/4 inch above your lumber. An easy trick to figure this out is set the bottom of the gullet, that little wave on the blade, to the top of your board. I adjust the blade height by unlocking this wheel here and using this hand lever to raise and lower the blade. Use a push stick when needed. Plan your cuts before you start so you have the appropriate push stick. Do not adjust the fence while the blade is revolving. Keep your fingers clear of the saw line. We don't want a hand to slip into the blade. Never clear scraps while the blade is revolving. Do not cut round stock on this machine. Do not use the fence and miter gauge together to make cuts. Push stock completely through the blade. Don't just give up now. Keep going. Don't position your body directly behind the blade. Stand to the side while operating the machine. Do not back out of a cut. Saw jams. Don't let go of the piece of wood. Hold it still and hit the stop button or call for help and someone will hit the emergency shutoff button. If you need to make a ripping cut, please see your instructor. Students should not be doing this on their own in our classroom. Never attempt to make a freehand cut. Alright, so now we know how to safely use the table saw. We need to look at how to actually use it. There's two main types of cuts. The ripping cuts going with the grain, the cross cuts going against the grain. I'm going to demonstrate both of them now. I'm going to measure my board. It's about 5 1/4. I'm going to set the fence. I lift this handle up. I use the ruler right here. Set it to 5 1/4. Lock that down. I can verify up here. Measure from the fence to the blade if I'd like. And now I'm ready to cut. To do this, I need to have safety glasses and all that kind of procedure down. I'm going to step just to the side of the blade here, so that way if something goes wrong, the board would come past me in a kickback situation. I'm going to keep the board nice and tight against the fence. This edge needs to be straight. This has already been run on the joiner, so I don't have to worry about that. But my focus is actually going to be more so on keeping this against the fence than really where the blade is. I'm going to make sure the computer brain is on, making sure the braking system is set up. I'm going to pull the red lever forward to turn on the saw. Push all the way past the blade. I'm waiting for that blade to come to a complete stop before clearing my scraps. Now I'm ready to do a cross cut. I want to cut this to length. I need to remove my fence, slide that way out of the way, and I'm going to need the miter gauge. It fits into this slot here. It should slide freely. I'm going to use my tape measure, measure out the length of my board here. I want this to be 14 inches, so I'm going to put a mark on it right here. I usually put an X on the scrap side, just so that way if I don't make this cut right now, I'm not confused later, especially if I'm going to make multiple cuts. I'm going to line this board up with my blade. I want to cut just next to that line on the X side, on the scrap side. Slide this back, lower the guard. I'm going to turn on the blade and I'm going to slide the wood and the miter gauge together like they're one unit. I'm going to wait for that to stop before I clear the scrap. But if you take a look at my workpiece here, you can see that I left my pencil line on, which means I'm pretty much perfect. I might even go back and nibble just a slight hair closer to that line to be perfect.